Congress set to return from its winter recess on January 10th, with just 22 voting weeks scheduled before the November midterms. And from salvaging President Biden's Build Back Better plan to a sweeping overhaul of federal elections, our panel is here with a look at what Democrats hope to get done in the new year. Joining me now is Wall Street Journal columnist Dan Henninger and Mary Anastasia O'Grady and editorial board member Kyle Peterson. So, Dan, election year's notorious for Congress not getting things done, but I wonder if you think this one could be the exception as Democrats try to salvage something from their congressional majorities.
I kind of doubt that, Paul, because they're Democrats and they're Democrats. And the Democrats running for re-election in November are really caught between a rock and a hard place. The rock is Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. He has resisted Build Back Better for an entire year. The hard place is the Democratic left, the progressives in the party who support Build Back Better. And what has to be understood, I think, is that the progressives are willing to get these things passed. They feel this is their only opportunity to do it, that if they lose this year, they're not going to be able to return to this legislation for a long time. So it's do or die for them. And I think they're willing to sacrifice a lot, including members of their own party in the election, if they could get some of this spending passed. But Joe Manchin is standing there resisting it. And so far, there's been no indication that they can revise all of those spending plans in a way that he would find acceptable. So I'm expecting more gridlock as the year goes forward, Paul, and that they have to peel off and start looking at other kinds of legislation that either doesn't involve spending or perhaps asking the president to do a lot of it through executive order.
You know, Mary, I don't think I think a little differently than Dan on this one. I think that the Democrats, the left in particular, may look reality in the face in the form of Joe Manchin and say, you know what, Joe, what will you vote for? And pare back the bill to do that. And then they'll declare, of course, a great victory. Maybe it'll be one major entitlement, maybe it'll be $500 billion in green energy spending. But they'll take the victory they can get. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm inclined. I mean, I think Dan makes a couple of good points, but I'm inclined to agree with you. I think Joe Biden will drag something over the line. And he'll do that by focusing on things that Joe Manchin can go along with. He might even get some help from Mitt Romney if they, for example, try to do something with a child tax credits for people with children. You know, you might also see the left, the progressive left, going along with it because they realize that come November, if they don't have anything to show for 2 years in office, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Kyle, what about the other priority they're talking about, voting rights? It's really a federalizing of of election laws in all 50 states they're trying to get through. But again, they're going to, in this one, they're going to have to break the filibuster because they can't use reconciliation. So they're going to have to get through Manchin and Sinema and others who don't want to do that. Is there any chance that that happens?
I think it looks really unlikely. I mean, Chuck Schumer, the majority leader, has said he plans to hold a vote, I think, in January on some version of H.R. 1. This is this massive bill. One part of it would be a requirement that states count mail ballots that arrive a week late. And if they don't have postmarks on them, they can still be counted even if the voter just dated them on time before the election. But Kyrsten Sinema has said she doesn't support breaking the filibuster. Joe Manchin has said the same, even though he supports this specific narrow version of H.R. 1. And there's been some talk. Joe Biden has said maybe the Senate could make an exception to the filibuster for democracy bills, for voting rights bills, but there's no specifics on how that would work. And the reality is you can't make an exception to the filibuster. If you knock one tiny hole in it, the Republicans are going to do the same thing next time, and the filibuster will be gone. And so that's the choice they're staring down, and I think they will choose not to go there.
All right, Mary, the other issue that may come up is another COVID relief bill. I know you can't wait for your check. Do you think that Congress may be going there again, using Omicron as the excuse?
I think it's going to be very tough, Paul. I mean, they pumped a ton of money into the economy in 2021, and we have a lot of inflation as a result of it. And I think Joe Manchin's main resistance to this bill, I mean, quite apart from his problems with the climate issue, is all of this spending and the results it has on the average American family. I think it's going to be very tough for them to do that.
And Dan, I want to put you on the spot here. Prediction for the midterms: Republicans going to take the House or not? And what about the Senate?
Yeah, I think the Republicans are taking over the House for sure. The question is how many seats. And the Senate depends a lot on the state of the economy, inflation, and how poorly Joe Biden appears to be doing. If that approval rating gets down towards 30%, we could see a Republican Senate next year as well.